Wow, just wow. The 2025 Chopin competition has officially begun, and what an incredible roster of monstrous artists we have competing this year. Stage 1 has wrapped up with 84 competitors from 20 countries pouring their souls into the music of Chopin. Honestly, I don't envy the jury. How they're gonna distill this ocean of talent into the next round is beyond me. Of course, no Chopin competition would be complete without the real star of the show, the YouTube live chat. That chaotic symphony of comments that somehow manages to be grotesque, colorful, and deeply entertaining all at once. The majority of commenters appear to be on crack, with the Chopin Institute moderator just letting anything happen. I guess they're a strong believer in exercising free speech. Here's an example of some typical comments that you'll find in the live chat. Shaky hands, they look too nervous, tempo too fast, tempo too slow, too loud, too soft, not enough rubato, too much rubato, oops, I don't think they can recover from this. Chopin would approve, Chopin would not approve, not enough soul, they understand the Polish spirit. Chopin was French, too many Asians, Yamaha sucks, where's Bechstein, Steinway this, Kawaii that. And right on schedule, Mr. Wrong Note Police has clocked him for duty. Every wrong note meticulously documented for future legal proceedings, making sure that the Chopin violators end up in the wrong note jail. Seriously though, no one cares about wrong notes. Look at Juliana Avdieva, Martin Garcia Garcia. Their performances were flavored with wrong notes in almost every round. Yet Avdieva won and Garcia Garcia got third place, so doesn't really matter. Anywho, the purpose of this video is to share some of the highlights of the first stage, and the pianists whom to me seriously stood out from their cohorts. Since this is a timely event, and because I have a finite attention span, it was impossible for me to listen to the full 30-minute program of all 84 competitors. But believe me, I did my best. So if I missed out on some names, please do remind me in the comments so that I can give them a proper listen. As of the time of this recording, the results of the first stage haven't been announced, so I may be in for a couple of surprises, and the competition does have a history of eliminating crowd favorites from the first stage. So let's see. Here are the pianists who, in my opinion, made the biggest impressions in round one, in no particular order. Starting with Diana Cooper, representing both France and the UK. Cooper's sound, thankfully, is far more French than it is British. Her prelims were spectacular, and she's lived up to every expectation in the first stage. What defines her playing is a rich bel canto lyricism. She can shift from a direct singing tone to something conversational with remarkable ease. Her second ballad alone deserves to be immortalized. She captures the spirit of Schumann's Florestan and Eusebius, swinging between serenity and fury like a pendulum of contrasting souls. Her etude in thirds was pure electricity, a right hand with relentless precision and a left hand that seems to sing from another realm. Then comes her nocturne in D flat. Dreamy, atmospheric, breathing in long, smooth arcs. If there's any justice, she'll be heard in every round. Then there's Tianyao Lyu. Holy cow, what a pleasant surprise. At just 16, Tianyao scientifically proved that age is truly just a number. Most younglings, no pun intended, at this competition are impressive for their age. She's impressive, period. Her playing has the audacity and assurance of a 50-year-old veteran. Her Etude Opus 25 number 6 is hands down, dare I say, one of the best in competition history. The speed, the clarity, the voicing, all impeccable. Her waltz brimmed with personality and theatrical flair. Her nocturne radiated elegance. Her barcarolle was grand and deeply personal. I love how unapologetically she voices her chords, bold and unmistakable. Unless catastrophe strikes, she's a lock-in for the finals. Then there's Kevin Chen. If you had to place a bet right now, Kevin Chen is a safe choice. He's exactly the kind of pianist that makes juries weak in the knees. Perfectionism incarnate. A Bruce Lee archetype. Pristine, reliable, and calculated to the last decibel. His performances are faultless. The balance, the control, the phrasing, everything where it should be. But it's not exactly my cup of tea. It's almost too perfect. I can't help but feel we've heard many versions of Kevin Chen before. If I stumbled upon his recording years from now, I'd admire it, but perhaps not return to it. Still, based on what we've seen, he's a strong contender for the top three, if not the top spot. Then we have Shiori Kuwahara, one of the most universally beloved performances this round, and that's saying something considering how chaotic the live chat usually is. Kuwahara's fourth ballad was spellbinding. She constructs a long, coherent arc that crashes into the climax like a tidal wave of emotion. Her conception of sound is extraordinary, spacious, breathing, full of pathos. Yes, her tempos might be slower than average, but her phrasing and timing give every moment gravity. This is playing that lingers. I can already see myself revisiting her performances long after the competition ends. I definitely see her being in the top six. I hope she makes it. Then there's David Khrikuli, a fan favorite and for good reason. I was genuinely surprised when he didn't make it far in the Van Cliburn, but here he's come back with something deeper and darker. Khrikuli plays with pathos, nostalgia, and an almost painful sincerity. His sound is massive yet deeply human. There's individuality in every phrase and a clear refusal to conform to competition polish. He may not be a first prize type pianist, he's more of a Charles Hamlin or Sarita type, but he's absolutely capable of reaching the top six. His playing connects, and that's rarer than perfection. Then there's Hyuk Lee. Hyuk was already a force back in 2021, but this year he feels even more mature and calculated. Everything is cleaner, tighter, and more deliberate. His control of tone is exceptional, never harsh, never sentimental, and always centered. The touch is lighter, but the ideas are deeper. There's less of the youthful adrenaline from 2021, replaced by an elegant confidence. He keeps tension without ever losing structure, and his climaxes are impeccably timed. If Kevin Chen represents technical perfection, Hyuk Lee represents musical intelligence, and that's why I think he'll be his toughest rival. Then there's Jonas Aumiller. Jonas's performances was all about discipline and proportion. His playing is refined, structured, and stylistically aware. He doesn't over romanticize, and that's refreshing in this competition. You can tell he's deeply analytical, but it never feels mechanical. The voicing is crystal clear, pedaling minimal but effective, and dynamics tastefully managed. He might not ignite immediate excitement, but his consistency and depth of understanding make him one of the most musically solid competitors of this stage. Then there's Kaiman Chang. Chang plays with clarity and balance, a textbook example of good taste. There's a sense of natural rhythm in his phrasing, and he understands how to breathe through a line. His control over color and articulation is impressive, particularly in transitions where most pianists tend to blur. The overall impression is intelligent and poised. Though perhaps lacking the individuality needed to stand out in a massive field, still there's nothing to fault, technically immaculate and musically refined. Then there's Tomoharu Uchida. Uchida became one of the unexpected stars of round one, with his performance going viral at the time of this recording, over 300,000 views on YouTube. It has that rare mix of technical reliability and communicative directness. Everything is neat, clear, and expressive without exaggeration. He keeps a tight rein on rubato, his sound production is beautiful, and his left hand sings. There's a deep sense of sincerity in his playing, nothing forced or theatrical. He's one of the few competitors who managed to win over both the audience and the purists. Very good chance of reaching the finals. Then there's a dark horse, Zihan Jin, whom I hear had the highest score in the prelims. He fully delivered in stage one. He combines precision and polish with remarkable calm under pressure. His playing has a professional sheen. Every dynamic shift is measured, voicing is deliberate, and technique looks effortless. He doesn't go for drama, but there's a quiet authority to how he builds structure. You feel like you're listening to someone who's already concert ready. Easily one of the strongest technical showings of the entire round. So keep an eye out for him and don't be surprised if you see him in the finals. Out of the Polish pianists, I really liked Adam Kałduński. He plays like a natural musician, regal, relaxed, confident, and deeply focused on sound quality. His tone has that velvety Polish warmth. His rhythm breathes naturally, and he avoids any unnecessary intensity. He knows when to let the silence work for him. It's not a performance designed to impress, it's one that quietly convinces. He frees his time in a way that few others do, and that poise makes him stand apart. I see him comfortably in the upper ranks of this stage. Then there's Xuanyi Mao. To be honest, I don't think she's gonna make it very far, but I really enjoyed her interpretation. It was very individualistic and extremely deliberate. Her phrasing slow and considered, with a tendency to pull back rather than push forward, but it's always coherent. You can tell she's thinking about long lines and harmonic pacing rather than surface effect. The downside is that it may come across as too restrained for some jurors, but artistically it's fascinating. It's not playing that aims to please, but to express, and that's admirable in this context. I also really enjoyed Ruben Micieli's performance. He brought a freshness and certain imagination to his set. The nocturne was luminous, beautiful pedaling, flexible phrasing, and natural breathing. The octave etude showed impressive technical control without becoming too percussive, and the ballad was dynamic and personal, full of character and rhythmic life. He plays with instinct and taste, never showy but expressive in every measure. The rubato feels genuine, the voicing alive. Easily one of the more original performers this round. I also really liked Zitong Wang, whose playing was delicate, introspective, and full of tenderness. She focuses on tonal beauty rather than projection, with graceful phrasing and beautifully judged dynamics. There's no trace of harshness or strain. Her style is sensitive, almost fragile, but that's what makes it stand out. The only question is whether the jury values her subtlety as much as the audience does. She deserves to advance, even if the competition format doesn't always reward this kind of refinement. Then there's Yanyan Bao. Yanyan reminds me of Kate Liu. Same glowing sound, same introspective energy. Her nocturne was exquisite, full of long breathing phrases. The etude showed tremendous control, never rushed, every line clearly defined. Her ballad had narrative pacing and emotional depth, proving she understands the architecture behind the notes. The slower tempo might divide opinion, but her musical instincts are strong and genuine. Sadly, I don't even know if she's gonna make it past the first round. I really hope she does. A pianist I was really excited to hear was Anthony Ratinov, but I can't say that he lived up to the expectations. He came with a clean, well prepared, but fairly conservative performance. Everything was in place, phrasing is logical, dynamics well balanced, and technique secure. Yet it never quite took off. You can tell he's a thoughtful player who prioritizes structure over spontaneity, but in this repertoire, that approach can feel a bit too safe. The polish is there, but the spark wasn't. It's the kind of vanilla performance juries respect but rarely remember. Solid, dependable, but not transformative. Then there's Hao Rao, a returning finalist from 2021. He came in with high expectations as well, and his opening lived up to them. The tone was radiant, the control excellent, and the phrasing full of maturity. Unfortunately, the fantasy didn't fully hold together. There were moments of uncertainty, both technically and interpretively. You could sense flashes of brilliance and poetic instinct, but also lapses in consistency. He still communicates with warmth and sincerity, but compared to his earlier standard, it kind of felt uneven. If he advances, it'll be on the strength of his artistry, not this particular round. Finally, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Eric Liu. Why Eric? Why? As most of you watching already know, Eric took fourth prize in the 2015 edition, one of the most stacked competitive Chopin competitions in history, and went on to win first prize at the Leeds. In other words, he doesn't need to prove anything. He's already an established, in-demand concert pianist with a solid career. So for him to come back now, it's a massive gamble. As much as I question the logic, I respect the courage. Out of everyone on that stage, he's got the most to lose. If he finishes outside the top three, it risks denting the myth that he built since 2015. Now, about the actual performance, on first listen, I honestly didn't think he'd make it past round one. Some of the choices felt strange, restrained pacing, unexpected voicings, phrasing that seemed to resist the natural flow. I felt like the tempo was slower, but on a second listen, a lot of it began to make more sense. There's an underlying architecture there, just not immediately obvious. It's also worth noting he appears to be playing with an injury to his right index finger, which could explain some of the unevenness. The sound now is deeper and more nuanced than his 2015 self, but the technique isn't as sharp. Back then, he had more youthful electricity. Now he's aiming for maturity, maybe at the expense of clarity. I still hope he makes it to the finals because when he's on, his musical mind is brilliant. But if he doesn't, it won't surprise me. This is the gamble of returning to a battlefield you've already conquered once. There's no winning unless you win everything. So that wraps up round one. And what a wild start to the 2025 Chopin competition this has been. The level this year is off the charts, technically, artistically, emotionally. You can already sense that we're in for one of those rare editions where there's no single frontrunner, but a genuine clash of personalities and schools of playing. And call it a hunch, but I have a feeling this might be the year of the women. The consistency, the depth of tone, the maturity across the female competitors this round has been remarkable. Of course, this is only round one, anything can happen, but something about this year feels different. Fresher, more balanced, more about expression than perfection. Let's see how the story unfolds. And if there's anyone I'm missing, please let me know in the comments what to listen to and who to look out for. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and tune in for coverage after every round. I'll see you in round two.